what's that called? I forget. And the other one from Rehovos Nahar. And the trouble is that you could see what did they want you to do, because it's like a cookbook type of deal. But some of the things they explain are contained in this little piece that we've been looking at from yesterday, of this concept of the Av Kedem and the concept of the Rayo. I just thought it was worth repeating number Kaf and number Kaf Aleph again. Let's say, looking at it to begin with, it starts out with number Vav at the top. It says, Rei Bezoar Chai, he says, the Ozil Khan, Lifi Darko Hanal, the Iri Khan Bezivug, the Chasiyas Kli shall be a Rishona. Now, this seems to be, so maybe my understanding of, I was always thinking that it represented a sweetened din, which maybe it does in some way, or maybe that's it also. So what we're trying to do is make a kli. So that's our phrase from the Sifra Tzniuta. It shines. It passes over into the nukva la'asosa kli in order to be able to make her a kli. It's not defining what the nukva is here. But so ma'aver this is the part of the ma'aver of v'yavor, which is the, that whole process between sim shalom and what we call tachton, they call it yavor. It has something to do with this. He said, "La'asosa kli b'sod ma'aver shall v'yavor," because that's making really yichud between, I think it's Yaakov and Leah, and then from Leah goes down a yichud that takes place between Yaakov and Rachel. I think that's how I learned it, but I could look at it again. But at any rate, he says, so it comes out that the word Yavor is also the word of Rayo. So now we have a little note on this down below. That's what we want to look at first. He says, now let me see. I always have a little problem seeing these. Kain Hu Bekamba Makomos. So this idea here is in Kamba Makomos. What is a Kamba Makomos? This concept of Yavor is also Av Rayo. And he's telling us that Av Rayo is a concept of making a kli. Rei B'tikuni Zohar, he said, Ba'od, V'rei Abeshar Kavonos. He said, V'hindecha B'kol HaZivugim, Heim L'tzorach Birach HaNitzutzim, Shalom Malachim Demiso, Asher Heim Mispar Rapach Nitzutzim, Kaminion V'yavor. So it comes out V'yavor is also the gematria of 288. Now, I just want to read it one more time just to get it fresh, trying to fix it a little bit better for myself. He says all of the zivugim that we do are all for the same reason. So that right there is a okay. So that is the yichud that takes place there allows for the nitzutzim shalom malacha shemedemiso. A lot of them, Asher Bechem Kamisbar Rapach, which we know that the Malachim that meet are into 288 Nitzutzim, Kamin V'Avor Shehem Avrayo, once again is Avrayo, but the Chidach is Barda the Begiba Bechidas Atachdonos. So the first thing is that the four different levels of Av, Sag, Ma'u, Ben, you're really beginning to learn at Ben, Ma and Sag, looking at it that way. He says, Ki Bechidas Atachdonos Shehem Sag, Ma'u, Ben, because Echad Na'asi Bebechinas Av, all of them actually come out to be put together in combinations that make them into 72s, Kumavur Etzlenu, B'Drash Racham Netzatzim. So all of them are 72, so you have 3 72s there. What's 3 72s? The Gimel Av Elo come to the gematria of Rayo. So now what you're trying to do is you're trying to bring up Nitzutzim. And be able to bring up Nitzutzim, apparently you need this combination called Avrayo V'chem Nitnem Ata El HaSmol, and they're putting over to the left L'tzorach Rayo, Shuhu Kli HaNekeva K'naida. So this last part here where it says, now you have these 372s. They're put over onto the left side. Now, that's not explained exactly. We understand that the entrance into the nukva seems to be on the left side, and it's for the purpose of the rayo of L'tzorach Rayo Shuhu Kli Anekeva K'naida. So the whole thing here is to take these 3 72s that come from the, what would we call it, the SMOB, and using those 372s to make this concept of Rayo, which is for the purpose of making a kli for the female. Amin hayamim shuhu sod, that's on the left side. Shuhu sod zocher, now the male is on the right side. Nimshach tipas av, then the other tipa, mamish, the Havai de Milu Yudin, the big time av, is coming down on the right side. So because now this tipa that's coming down now, he min chesed comes out to the chesed of atik. Now, how this all pieces together? One more time. He said the milu yudin. So now you have first you have the smab, then you're adding the and smab is a gematria of yavor. Then you have bringing into it from, that's all on the left side. On the left side you bring, on the right side you bring in the av, the regular av. So he says, Ki hine hatipa chazosa yeredis. You're still there. Ki hatipa chazosa yeredis ata he min ha-chesed the atik. It comes to this tipa. The tipa starts there in the chesed of atik. B'tachidus hadrash that we said v'lechein he av the chavayim de milu yudin. That's the reason why. Bahari nishlu av rayo ad kan. So now that's the av. The rayo refers to the smab. And the av, which is on the left side, and the av that's coming from Etzilus or from Chochmah is going to be on the right side. Now, going on a little bit more after we said that, so going on a little bit more, he says, Ubenukva hu av kedem, but that's referring to, apparently he means the first part was avrayo, is really referring to the tipa that's coming out of Abba going into Ima. That's what it sounds like. The nukva, when he says the nukva, he means the nukva, the zeranpin, is malchus, is a different combination, is this name Av Kedem, which also comes out to be, the Kedem comes out to the gematria of Rayo, or excuse me, the two of them together come out to be the gematria of Rayo. So I'm not sure why there would be a change, what's the difference, but he says this specific genetic code, let's say, for example, to build up the Nuk of Malchus, that is the womb of the Kli of Malchus, Shel Shem Ben Ki Yedua, and number Kof Aleph, and this is where we'll look at this one more time and try to make a conclusion on this. So he says, Ratzon Lomar, Rayo Shel Kli the Ima, Hu Gimel Pamim Av. So that's the three Avs of the Smab, I guess. Ha'ola Rayo. So this concept of Rayo is the ability to make a Kli like that. Is making a Kli making a womb for the Nukva. We have over there Hahu Rucho Hu Kolu Begimel Shemos the Av the Milu Yudin. Now he says this one though, instead of you talking about the Smab before, here he says that who Kolol Megimel Shemos of Av the Milu Yudin. So there's 3 times 70 of those 72. Behem gematria Rayo once again. So first of all, you have these 3 loading up on loading up. Ve'elocha Gimel Shemos shenosin ba me'ima ba'ima. So these 3 names that are placed into ima, ba'bir rishona she'olim Rayo, that heim bechinas hakli asher ba. Okay, so that's something slightly different. So he says to make the kli for the nukva, for ima, then you take, because I guess 72 is really the number of Abba, you take those 372s of Netzutzim, I guess, and you place them into her. That's a Rayo. Ad Kan. Ein Sham. Ve'elu Rayo shall kli on the nukva, but when we talk about Malchus, Hu Shemos Av Kedem, it's a different name. It's a different combination of Olam Gamkein, Rayo, which also comes to that name Rayo. Now, Av Kedem means comes first. I'm not sure why we go that right, but we do, or the significance of it. V'nikra Rayo Atachton, this is called the lower Rayo. K'bavur be'etz chaim, it said over there, b'sel l'shono, v'achakach noisen hazer anpin, ba benukva sod Rayo Tachton, and this is the quote from over there. Hushem ben dehayin. So this is taking the name ben of Hayim, berivua of a milui. If you take the rivua and the milui of ben, Shahu gematria of Kadim comes out to the same gematria kanoida, and that's really on the more or less of the first page or so on and so forth of the Kriya Shema Lamita. Vahu gematria Rayo comes in the gematria of Rayo again. V'zecha b'chakli shal hanekeva tata ad kan. So when you see this, it means about the kli. Okay, I'm going to stop here so we can get a shot at let's see, finishing where we left off the last time.